Hi, cat. Come and get some mango, baby.
One, two, 1, 2, 3. Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you're not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. Hey guys, today is Friday, May 31st, and the energies in the day adds up and reduced to number 8 vibration. If today is your birthday, happy birthday. So when it comes to the cards are just jumping out today. Well, yesterday, the same thing happened. I didn't even get to shuffle them and they're just popping out. So when it comes to today's spirit animal, we have the whale. The whale energy brings me to water. Water brings me to emotion. I also think about like the age of whales and you know how they've been around for so long. So this is bringing me to wisdom. This is bringing me to wisdom. It's bringing me to time. It's bringing me to reflection. And the energies in the day adds up and reduce to the number 8 vibration. And the number 8 is ruled by Saturn energy. And Saturn also deals with time. Saturn also deals with wisdom. Today is ruled by Venus because Friday is associated with Venusian energy and Venus is in Gemini. So when it comes to today's energy and the whale coming out and the energies in the day adding up and reducing to the number 8 vibration, today's energy brings me to the importance of time and wisdom. And for me, wisdom has a lot to do with reflection and reasoning. Wisdom has a lot to do with reflection and reasoning. And I think of, say, with reflection and reasoning and how there's so much distraction around us, stopping us from reflecting and reasoning. I'm thinking about the book Fahrenheit 451. That's what came to mind just now. And I think about how that book, I read that book in school. And when I read the book, this was way before we even had social media or anything like that. And the book pretty much reflects our future right now to a certain extent, even though it's such an old book. But it felt like it was predicting the future. And Fahrenheit 451 is the temperature at which books burn. And in this time, we're not allowed, I say where, in this time, the people are not allowed to read books. In this time, people aren't allowed to reflect. People aren't allowed to sit down and have conversations. And a matter of fact, most people don't want to anyways. But the people who do, it's almost like, not almost, the people who do, they're watched. And they're watched because more than likely they own books. Because the people who own books or try to own books who end up getting caught and end up getting their house burnt down and I think going to jail, they behave very similar. And in this time, that's against the law. You commit a crime by trying to own books and reflecting and speaking and having family dinner and things like that. People aren't like that anymore. And people might, you know, other family members might even report each other whenever they see that behavior because it's not okay. That's not how society is ran. And when it comes to today's energy and the whale coming out, it brings me to the importance of reasoning and questioning and how dangerous it is for us to allow others to solve our problems for us, and how when we don't believe in ourselves, we give up our power and our rights to others because we leave it up to them to solve our problems. We leave it up to others to think for us. And if we're leaving it up to others to think for us, then of course they own us. I was having a conversation the other day, and I was saying to the person how I believe there's a solution for everything. Whenever someone tells me that, oh, this can't, I can't, or this can't happen, it's like, I won't accept that, because I believe that there is a solution for everything. I was also having a conversation about laws that are passing and things like that. And I was saying to the person how with every law, there's a loophole that is created by the people who passed it so that they don't get cornered within it. It's like building something around you, but as you're building, you make sure there's a way out for yourself. Everybody else isn't aware of the way out, but you who's building it is aware of the way out. And I just think of nature and the universe and how there is a reflection to everything, and how energy moves forward, how energy is constantly flowing and moving forward. So with that being said, there's always a way out within everything. I feel like today's energy feels a lot like some of us reflecting on a way out when it comes to something. Today's energy could be deep reflection, maybe deep reflection on our finances, deep reflection on our stability, our security, how we're able to provide for ourselves. And when it comes to that deep reflection, for some of us, it might be hard to figure out, or it might be hard to see a way up out of something. And there's always a way out. And what I've been reflecting on a lot lately is how when it comes to life reminds me of trading the more that I learn how to trade. And within trading, most of trading has to do with how well you could be still and do nothing, and know when to do nothing and know when to act. Because moments when you force action, when there's no opportunity to act, it causes you to lose big. And life is the same. Over time and reflecting on seasons in my life, life is the same. An example I'll give is, say for example, in your life, something happens where you're being challenged away. Something happens that seems out of place and you're being challenged, and the challenge forces you to act accordingly in order to fix the problem. And in the process of fixing the problem, you're aligning yourself with something that you don't even know you're aligning yourself with, that's going to take you to the next level, or that's the doorway to getting whatever it is that you want. An example I can think of is, say, a person in their mind, they've always imagined themselves having a family, having a certain lifestyle. And for the longest, nothing has been happening, but one day they get a flat tire out of nowhere. And the thought of the flat tire frustrates them because it's inconveniencing them, because they have other things that they need to do. And then also too, it's going to cost. And they have a flat tire. Instead, when the tow truck guy comes to assist them, instead of changing the tire, they realize that something else is up with the car too. So they end up having to tow the car to a shop. And now the person is like, wow, even more inconvenience. They're frustrated. And while they're at the shop waiting, someone else is also waiting in the waiting room with them. They spark conversation, maybe based on something that's on the TV that they're both watching. And both their cars are taking real long. So they end up forced to sit there together, not forced, but the energy is just flowing. They're having conversations one after the next, and the vibe is so good to the point that they decide to exchange numbers. And before you know it, a few years later, they're married with children. And it's like, that would have never happened if this didn't happen, that lead them to the next step, that led to the next step. And say previous to the car situation coming up, both of them probably say they were on dating sites and paying people to matchmakers and things like that, and nothing worked out, nothing happened. But it wasn't until the time is right, one thing happened that appeared to be a headache that led to the next thing, and the next thing set them up to get whatever it is that they deserve, whatever it is that they're meant to have. Think about in your life how things worked that way, how one thing led to the next thing, that led to the next thing, that created opportunities for you, that created an opportunity for you. So when it comes to the tarot, we are rocking with the 9 of Pentacles in the reversal position. So definitely there's something around money today. There's definitely a focus around money. And the focus around money feels like there's not enough. But for the simple fact that the 9 of Pentacles is what came out pertaining to today's energy, brings me to the fact that there is more than enough, but there's a fear about the future. The way how I see my life right now is I see my life and I see myself as a soldier. Soldier meaning that I work for the Federation of Light or something like that. You know, I see myself as a soldier, and I think about how before every soldier goes on their mission, and maybe for us, the mission is this life, and having an experience within this life. And the mission might not require you to do much other than to be here and keep your vibration high. Because when you keep your vibration high, it helps with the balance or something. So I think of soldiers going off to war, and every soldier going off to a mission or a war, whatever it is that you want to call it, their whole mission is already covered. Everything that they will need on their mission is covered. So I see life in the same light. Like, everything I need in this life is covered. My whole experience is already paid for. So whenever things come up that gets my attention financially, that makes me feel like, okay, something needs to be done, I feel like that's just the universe's way of redirecting our steps by slowing down the resources, or the resource appearing to slow down. It's like the soldier having to go back to headquarters or having to check in because they're rerouting the mission. But it's not necessarily that our mission is being rerouted. Like, maybe the mission is to keep your frequency high. You come here and the mission is to raise your frequency and keep it raised. And there'll be all kind of things that, you know, that could easily make you drop your frequency, but the mission is to keep your frequency raised because it does something to the balance. It helps in some way. And, you know, knowing that everything is paid for, everything is covered, you have nothing to worry about, but just keeping your frequency high. It's like being a student and your parents already paid for your full tuition, your meals, everything is already covered. You just got to show up and do what you came to do. And I feel like for us, it's keeping our frequency high. And in media, movies, entertainment, all of that, there's always this lack. They're always pushing a lack mentality. And I feel like the lack mentality is for a reason, because it causes us to lower our frequency. And they benefit, and they is whoever pushes information that causes us to be in fear and lower our frequency. So when I think of today's energy and the 9 of Pentacles coming out, like, don't allow fear or false evidence appearing to be real to control your world. You have more than enough. And when I think of the whale as the spirit animal, the whale brings me to time. it brings me to, like I said, time, because of the age of whales. And I think of how Saturn rules over the day, and Saturn also deals with time. And today being energy adding up to number 8 vibration, and the number 8 dealing with seasons and cycles. And I think about how important it is for us to reflect sometimes on moments when we thought everything was going wrong and nothing was going to work out in our favor, and how we got through it, how things worked itself out. Today is the 31st. The number 3 is creative, it's expressive. That number 3 energy could make some of us feel like we need to do something now that's going to change our lives forever. And things take time. There's a building process that's required when it comes to everything. The number 1 energy deals with ideas, because today's the 31st. So the number 1 deals with ideas. The number 1 deals with the I am. 3 plus 1 is 4. So there's some kind of structure. There's focus on structure, or focus on stability, focus on discipline, focus on organization. So for some of us, some things might come up today that shows you how much you need to get better when it comes to managing your time, managing your life, managing your resources, managing your emotions. But I feel like resources is where the focus is for today more than anything else. The moon is still in Pisces. The moon conjuncts Saturn. It did yesterday also. But with the moon near Saturn, our inner world with the moon in Pisces, reflection and time alone is important. But with Saturn there, it's almost like we're policing ourselves to a certain extent, or keeping the order. So this is where we go within, and we're not completely just lost within escaping. We're organizing and structuring things, reflecting and making sense of things. Today being ruled by Venus. Venus is conjunct Jupiter and the Sun in Gemini. So there's that part of us that is valuing our free time and time spent with our community, with our family, time spent just chilling. But the moon Saturn energy is squaring that. So I think of how there's part of us that wants to pretty much not focus on our responsibilities and instead just go out and have a good time. But there's a other part of us that's like, okay, this needs to be done first. So when it comes to today's energy, I think the best thing to do when it comes to enjoying a day like today is to just, whatever responsibilities that you have to do today, get them out of the way. Just knock them out of the way, get them out of the way, and then allow yourself to enjoy the day. When it comes to a day like today, maybe some things might come up also around overspending, because with Venus, Jupiter, Mercury, Sun, and Gemini, I can see how that energy can cause us to get lost in the moment. And yeah, get lost in the moment, and the energies in the day adds up and reduce to number 8 vibration. That also deals with finances. So there's a factor, overspending can be a factor today. Overspending can definitely be a factor today. So it's important to be intentional. When it comes to today's energy, be intentional. Be intentional with your time. Be intentional with your words. Be intentional with your energy. You guys, it's such a pleasure sharing this message with you. Hey guys, I want to share with you 7 benefits of getting a numerology natal chart awareness coaching session. The first one is understanding your internal programming. The second one is becoming more clear about your purpose and passion. The third is setting goals for success. The fourth is awareness of strength and areas of improvement. And the fourth one was foundational for me, because whenever you're aware of your weaknesses, no one can use them against you. And when you're aware of your strengths, that makes you unstoppable. And that is why I say self-awareness is a superpower. The 5th benefit is removing obstacles. We first have to become aware of a thing in order to remove it in the first place. The sixth benefit is understanding relationship dynamics. We don't have to change the people in our lives. We have to become aware of ourselves and start from there, and everything changes. And the seventh benefit is upcoming transits, if that's something that you would like to look into because you're planning for something or you just want to be aware. So if you're interested in booking a numerology natal chart awareness coaching session or learning more about it, the link to book or the link to send me an email for questions are both within the description box below. If you'd like to check out my Patreon where I share exclusive content, the link to check out what's happening on Patreon is in the description box below. Please let me know you're here with me by dropping me a pink heart in the comment box below. I would love to hear from you and look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.